This is a video to go over the last two problems in Chapter 3 for Chem 111. We had introduced the concept of limiting reactants, and we went through one calculation where we looked at the information given, realized that there were amounts of two reactants given, and we calculated how much product we could make from each one. Then we chose the smaller answer. So we're going to look at another example, and again, it's coincidental that I have the same amount of each type of reactant. So when we look at this problem, how much titanium chloride can be produced from the following reaction using 125 grams of chlorine and 125 grams of carbon with excess titanium oxide ore? That means we don't have to worry about the titanium oxide. We're just going to focus on calculating chlorine and copper. The first thing we do, as always, is to check and see if the equation is balanced. It is not, so we can fix that with a 2 here. Now we calculate how much product we can make using all of the chlorine. Before we get started, I went through and calculated the molar mass of chlorine, copper, and titanium chloride because those are numbers I'll be using. So I start with my 125 grams of carbon. I change my grams to moles. From my periodic chart, I know that 1 mole of carbon has a mass of 12.0115 grams of carbon. My grams of carbon cancel. I know that from my balanced equation, 1 mole of titanium chloride is produced from 1 mole of carbon in this equation. So my moles of carbon cancel. And I know that 189.69 grams of titanium chloride is 1 mole. Now I grab my calculator and I get 1,970 grams of TiCl4. Now I'll do the same calculation using up all my chlorine. 125 grams of chlorine, change that into moles. 1 mole of chlorine from the periodic chart is 70.9054 grams of chlorine. I know that 1 mole of titanium chloride uses 2 moles of chlorine. And I know that the titanium chloride is 189.69 grams per 1 mole. So I get 167 grams of TiCl4. Now I look at the two numbers and I choose the smaller, and this is my theoretical yield. Theoretical yield is what you can produce when everything goes perfectly well. Sometimes in life it doesn't quite happen that way. So in our case, our reaction produced 150 grams of titanium chloride. So when I look at this, I think about the theoretical and the actual yield. Then I can calculate percent yield is actual, what you got, over theoretical, what you calculated, times 100. So my percent yield is my actual 150.0 grams divided by my theoretical 167 grams times 100, and that's 89.8%. So you see that you don't always get 100%. Most of the time we don't, because things go wrong when we're trying to do some chemistry. Maybe there's a side reaction, maybe you spilled some on the bench. Okay, now go ahead, stop this video, work the problem on page 3-21, and then look at the next video to see the solution to that problem.